All right, so let's talk about this with Charles Chamberlain, Executive Director for Democracy for America, and a Bernie Sanders surrogate, and Lily Garcia, President of the National Education Association, and a Hillary Clinton supporter. She's also a Democratic superdelegate. Welcome to both of you.
Happy to be here.
Oh, thanks. Charles, can you hear me? Oh, thanks for being here.
Yes, I can.
Before we start, you're welcome for being here. So before we start, I'd like us to harken back to elementary school. Remember when we stood up each morning and we recited the Pledge of Allegiance? So let's do it. We don't have to do it together, but this is what it said just as a reminder. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands. It doesn't say to the democracy. So, Charles, everybody, I mean, all these politicians know that we have a republic and how the system works. So why do they keep complaining about it?
Well, I think what it comes down to is when you have a system where we are voting, the rank-and-file Democrats vote all around the country, and through that system we get to choose the pledged delegates. I think the real question here is when you look at superdelegates and you see these individuals have enormous power. They've already voted in their own personal primary and caucus, and then they get to vote again, and their vote is worth the vote of literally thousands and thousands of Democrats nationwide. That's not democratic, and so I think it's critically important that superdelegates have to make sure that they end up supporting whoever wins the most pledged delegates based on the votes of rank-and-file Democrats. That's the key. If that's what happens, then that's a democratic process that works.
Okay, so Lily, you are a superdelegate.
Not only that,
to throw your support behind the candidate, you know, that most of the voters in your particular state, which would be Utah in this instance, voted for in the primary.
I'm not only a superdelegate, I'm a sixth grade teacher, and I got to teach things like civics. This is the selection of the Democratic nominee. And so, yes, the Republicans have a process that they've voted on, and the Democrats have a process they've voted on, and it is different state to state. Some are caucuses, some are primaries. So,
what Charles is saying is like you're a superdelegate. You're all powerful. You can look at the vote in Utah and you can say, I'm not going to decide that way. I'm going to choose.
And if I was looking at the votes nationwide, I'm excited that Hillary Clinton's winning. 2.5 million more votes on any level. She's winning, and so I think it's not a mystery why people like Donald Trump or even Senator Sanders would say, let's question the process right now, where it looks like they won't get the delegates that they need to win. If you're going to question the process, you do it at the beginning, not when you're losing. And so Hillary's winning on every level. This is what democracy looks like.
So Charles, is this just sour grapes on Senator Sanders' part?
Well, first of all, I would argue that we've been making this case all along. In fact, in 2008, we made the case to the superdelegates as well as how undemocratic they actually are, and it's a system that absolutely needs to be fixed. But, you know, this number, this 2.5 million popular vote number, this idea that Hillary Clinton is somehow beating Bernie Sanders by millions and millions of votes, that's a fake number. The reality is that states like Iowa, Colorado, Washington State, they don't report their popular vote totals. They only report the winner of the pledged delegates. That's why the choice has to be made by the pledged delegates and not based off of fake numbers like 2.5 million that doesn't even exist.
So you call them fake numbers? So you're saying Bernie Sanders is actually ahead in the number of votes cast in the nation at the moment?
Well, what I'm saying is that every report that gives this number of popular votes, that's not a real number because we don't know how many people voted for Bernie Sanders or for Hillary Clinton in several of the states. So if you're talking about an incredible number of popular vote leads, you're literally disenfranchising many different states. Iowa, Colorado, Washington State are being completely disenfranchised from that count. Look, the reality is that Bernie Sanders has won the last 7 states, and we're looking at several more states coming up: New York, Pennsylvania, California, all of which have a very, very rich delegate total.
I want Lily to refute what you just said. So is he right?
We're
is
in
it
the
a fake
middle.
number?
What we're in is in the middle of a primary season where some are caucuses, some are primaries. If you're looking at the numbers and the question you asked me on where a superdelegate should be, when you look at the pledged delegates, the delegates that were elected from their state, she's ahead. When you look at the numbers that we have on the popular vote, she's ahead. When you look at the delegate counts, she's ahead. She's winning. And this is what the primary season is all about. What you do is you get to the next state and the next state and the next state. So this is all very interesting to talk about, you know, the numbers at this point. But what people have to do is just realize that this is democracy. This is what you were saying in terms of the Pledge of Allegiance. The process that we have, we want a fair process, and I believe we have one.
All right, I got to leave it there. Lily Garcia, Charles Chamberlain, thanks to both of you. I appreciate it. Still to come.